Intel has enlisted House of Gaga to collaborate on a project that will showcase technology through creativity at the highest level. Our partnership will culminate in a performance that inspires to remind the world of the seed of innovation, the wizard behind the curtain, the mind behind the machine. Intel.
Surrogates begins with a laboratory creating a replica of a human controlled by the human mind. The surrogates of the future cannot be distinguished from their human counterparts, but it's obvious that the first surrogates are a combination of man and machine. Kevin Warwick has volunteered to be a human cyborg.
First implant that I had, I've got here we go, this is show you what it looked like. So this was the first implant. That's radio frequency identification device, and that was implanted in my left arm, just up here, so pushed in at that point. And what we used this for was simply, as I moved around my building here in Reading, in England, the computer knew where I was at particular points. So it opened doors for me and switched on.
As CBS 2 explores, cloning a loved one is no longer the stuff of science fiction because of digital immortality. Bina is obviously not a real woman, but she does have the mind of one.
I think there'll probably come a time when robots like Bina will be living amongst us.
She's a clone, sharing not only the appearance of a very real woman named Bina Rothblatt, but also her exact memories, attitudes, and beliefs.
This is one opportunity for us to start thinking about changing the way we look at what it means to be human.
It's technology we've so far only seen in movies.
Self-awareness, manipulation. Now, if that isn't true AI, what is?
But in real life, Bina is one of the first clones to be implanted with a mind file, representing an actual person's consciousness. The robot can even see thanks to facial recognition software, so she actually knows who she's talking to. As many as 56,000 people have already signed up on the Foundation's website to start uploading the contents of their minds with the hopes of being cloned.
AlphaGo's victory shocked experts in the artificial intelligence community. Many thought such an event was at least a decade away. With computing power growing exponentially, a future of artificially intelligent machines that learn from their mistakes now looks closer than ever. This poses fundamental questions about the nature of intelligence and even what it means.
It shows person of interest in criminal minds both use facial recognition to identify people and solve crimes. It's very helpful to law enforcement, but it's being used more and more in everyday life.
And Central Florida is home to one of the best software computer vision companies in the country.
Malls are also cashing in on facial recognition. Many mall directories have cameras inside taking your photo to determine the shopper's age, race, and gender. In return, you'll see ads for products catering to your demographic. It's even being used to keep the nightlife atmosphere safe.
It's the first time it's been done in industry, and by the way, the science behind it is very new.
Israeli startup Faceception works on the theory that DNA determines personality, which is reflected in our faces. Faceception is negotiating deals with global security firms and recently signed a contract with a major homeland security agency.
Cash for an entire month. Didn't use any physical cards, so just digital means. And throughout the experiment, I wanted to push myself and try to find what's the furthest possible extent of this future of payments.
Are you more pessimistic on fintech as a whole as a result of this, or is the trajectory just more shallow than we think?
I think what we have, there's definitely a really interesting, bright future here. A lot of people are saying, okay, Apple put out Apple Pay, we got Samsung Pay, Android Pay, all these things are going to change us right away. But this is it's kind of a generational, behavioral thing that takes time.
Chaotic Moon is a mobile dev company with an idea they're calling Tech Tats. Tech Tats are actually biosensors that rest on top of your skin as opposed to being injected underneath them like real tattoos, and a small microcontroller handles incoming data and storing information. Electroconductive paint allows for temperature sensing, while an ambient light sensor flips on an LED if it realizes it's dark out, making you kind of feel like a really awesome cyborg. A Bluetooth low-energy connection means transferring health data to an app is easy, and since it can be placed anywhere instead of just on your wrist, Chaotic Moon believes it might have a place in tracking. They also mention the possibility of Bio-NFC, which would turn one of these temporary tattoos into a payment portal that you could activate by gesture.
You're paying for other people to steal, and it's costing billions.
Now, a retired police major thinks he has a unique way to fight it. Here's Fox 2's Chris Hayes with the technology that could stop shoplifters before they strike.
Sandy, it's facial recognition software that could help store managers stop shoplifters with a smile.
Our CEO is the guinea pig here, and Paul comes through, you see within a tenth of a second, he's boxed in his rep.
Spies says the facial recognition for retailers would work best as a shared network.
Local police agencies are expanding the use of facial recognition cameras. More than twice as many devices have been deployed countywide compared to 1 year ago. But as CBS News 8's Marcella Lee reports tonight, privacy advocates worry about what may be coming next.
The thing that I worry about is facial recognition becomes like automatic license plate readers, that everywhere you go, there are cameras that are able to track where you're moving because they're able to identify your face.
So far, that hasn't happened, but new technology is emerging.
So some of the other technologies to keep an eye out for are iris scanning. That's a big one. We've also seen the Department of Homeland Security develop a tattoo recognition app.
In seconds. Moms and dads, you know that feeling. Your child gets lost in a store, maybe just wanders off for a second or two. Your heart stops, though. Panic sets in, and you think the worst. It's happened to most of us, but what if you had a secret weapon, an extra layer of safety, so to speak? How far would you go to keep your children secure?
Would you be willing to microchip them? Experts tell us the technology already exists. Turns out one Bay Area mother is all for it, and she shared her story with our Melanie Michael.
Chances are if you have a four-legged family member at home, it's already microchipped. And if the technology exists to save Fido in an emergency, what about microchipping your child?
I want my son back!
We've seen it in movies.
This is my daughter!
Over and over again, children gone missing. Stephanie's teenage daughter is a special needs child, prone to wander off and trust strangers. For that very reason, Stephanie wholeheartedly welcomes microchipping a child.
If a small chip the size of a grain of rice could have prevented a tragedy, I think most parents, hindsight would have said, I wish I would have done it.
A well-known technology expert out of Boston tells us microchipping poses little to no health risks and would act as a barcode of sorts.
Without question. It could save a life.
And it's the size of a grain of rice, very, very small. And the expert that we spoke with actually tells us that barcodes were introduced in the late 1960s, and back then people thought, this is way too invasive and too weird, and now barcodes are so commonplace that we don't even think about them anymore. The expert tells us this will happen sooner rather than later.
In September of 2014, the FBI retired its old fingerprint system and replaced it with the next generation. The $1.2 billion program sends digital fingerprints to agents in the field and uses facial recognition technology to help them track down terrorists. Today, NGI is fully operational, but the program is not without controversy. Government Matters' Diane Cho got exclusive access to the FBI's biometrics campus in West Virginia. It's an area so restricted, even our crew needed a background check.
Biggest concerns with face recognition technology are the fact that it can be used at some point in the future to track people as they move about through society.
Technology she believes one day could potentially blur the line between protecting civil liberties and national security. For Government Matters, I'm Diane Cho.
Brooke likes this idea, which tells you a lot about Brooke. Listen to this story. Okay, so if you forgot your ticket to a game, a soccer game in Argentina, it's not a problem because you can use the microchip that's been embedded under your skin by the team. An Argentinian soccer team planning experimentally to this point to offer supporters a chance to implant a microchip in their skin. Lets them walk right through, like Easy Pass in your car.
It's an Easy Pass.
You just walk right into the stadium.
But the Easy Pass is in your car, not in your wrist.
That's
correct.
But see, I'm not really thinking about it in terms of sports as much as I would love to put one in my kids.
Just to know where they are?
I know it's creepy and really futuristic, but my dog has one.
Right.
And she ran away and ended up, so we live downtown and she ended up in Harlem. And somebody did deliver her to a facility, a place, and they scanned her and then they found us. And I honestly am not completely against chipping my children.
Have you proposed this to the girls?
I haven't. No, I thought I would do it in their sleep.
Now they know.
I would put it.
Mom, Mom, what
Just
was
a
that?
button,
Oh, I
go
don't
to
know.
sleep.
It's a mosquito. There's something about it. I don't know about the scanning and the people are like, oh, it'll help you in the subways.
Slope. You're going to be programming them to eat their vegetables with a button.
It's going to happen though.
Yeah.
We're scanning things with our eyes.
Yeah.
When it's not just a thumbprint anymore. It's not just. So I wouldn't put it past it being done.
Couldn't we just put it in our phone? Everything's in the phone and swipe the phone.
When you get on a plane now, you can just you go like that.
How do you find your children if they somehow get kidnapped?
All right.
Really taking this going.
I'm bringing it way down.
Bring it back to the blacklist. Back to the blacklist. So the official, by the way, for the soccer team says the chip does not have a tracking device.
Oh, okay.
So they can't follow you, they claim. And it carries only basic information about the fan. My thing about this is, it's not that hard to walk in now. They have scanners on your ticket, and you go beep, and you walk in.
Except I like the tracking device. I like a little low jack on my baby.
Chip behind closed doors with a team of scientists.
I want a baby low.
Yeah.
Baby low jack. That's what I want.
Aparte que maneja la gente de seguridad, no es el último, lo más mínimo. Es una idea para que el socio tenga otra alternativa, quiera, es algo más bien lúdico y novedoso.
Canby says he can now open his door, unlock his cell phone, and all he has to do is just swipe his hand.
It's because he has a microchip implanted in his hand.
Well, that would do it.
He says it's changed his life, and now he's shown.
This is a pretty interesting one, you guys. James Newman says he's embracing technology in a big way. 2 years ago, after reading some tech articles, he was inspired and he had a chip implanted right in his hand. He says radio frequency identification is the way of the future.
The Capitol, the controversy over vaccinations heating up again, this time over a bill that would require schools to inform the state which children have opted out of the vaccines.
Some of those who are opposed to vaccinations are fearful of the state getting a hold of the names of those who have opted out. For fear, it's a step towards tracking them down.
I use it every day, literally every single day. It's very useful to me.
She's talking about microchipping. It is a popular way to keep track of pets, but would you microchip yourself? A swipe of your hand to unlock doors, turn on lights, even log into your cell phone or your computer. It's called biohacking, and some people swear by it.
We live in a digital world filled with computers, cell phones, even fitness trackers. People use technology for everyday conveniences, but some might be taking it to the extreme by doing something called biohacking.
Show me your hand. Okay, you kind of barely see it.
Chrissy Heichman is among dozens of North Texans implanted with a tiny, low-frequency microchip.
The size of a grain of rice.
So it feels like a BB.
Yeah.
You've seen it before in movies.
This may be a little uncomfortable.
But science fiction is now reality.
Beyond wearable technology, it's now time for embedded medical implants. It may sound either frightening or exciting to you, but one day in a near future, we might all biohack ourselves. And health wearables are indeed set to make a difference in 2016. But it seems like another trend could soon change the way we treat illnesses, and that is embeddable tech implants.
Real-life cyborgs are now among us. These citizen scientists are altering cells, DNA, even hacking their own bodies with sights set on the future.
I've got an implant in my finger. I've got a chip in my hand.
An underground movement known as biohacking is pushing to advance the human race.
Yeah, these citizen scientists are altering cells, DNA, and even hacking themselves by implanting electronic devices into their own bodies.
What I'm interested in is functional implants that can track my health data, that can make me, a stronger, faster, better human.
These biohackers are the experiment, but they emphasize that years of planning and research are put in before they grab the scalpel. Still, not for everybody. No. Although, I bet the guy with the magnet in his finger makes a lot of money in bars.
I was going to say, that's quite a pickup line.
Yeah,
like, look
exactly.
at me, I'm going to levitate rock.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like I said, unless they can come up with a chip that'll clean my house in 1 hour for me, I'm not going to be implanting anything.
We could put a radar in your head or something.
Tonight now, in the not-so-distant future, you could be wearing all of your personal information, everything from your credit card numbers to your vital signs. It's called the tech tattoo.
So this is really going beyond what the fitness tracker is.
The latest bio-wearable looks like a circuit board that gets embedded onto your arm.
With a tech tattoo, you could carry all your information on your skin.
Information like your identification and your credit card numbers.
We carry wallets around, and they're so vulnerable.
Experts say the temporary tat will also be able to monitor your vitals. They're made with electroconductive ink that contains various sensors and, in some cases, tiny microchips. Cosmetic company L'Oreal is also getting in the action with a temporary tattoo that can track UV exposure and alert you if you're in danger of burning.
The future will let you leave your debit card at home. JP Morgan Chase is upgrading all their ATMs this year to let you withdraw money using your smartphone. Well, we've come a long way from saying, I got to go tap Mac, haven't we?
It's one of hundreds of features brainstormed at the bank's Innovation Center in Columbus, Ohio. Some ideas, like a fingerprint scanner, got left on the cutting room floor, but others are being put into practice.
They want to be able to bank where they want, when they want, and how they want. And this machine is allowing us the flexibility to do so.
It's not just Chase customers. Bank of America is making its machines mobile friendly, and Citigroup's ATMs may soon scan your iris for identification. The upgrades over the years have made the machines more popular among customers than visiting a teller.
Entering the country at Kennedy Airport will now have their faces scanned.
All right, Fox 5's Jody Goldberg is live at JFK to show us how that new security technology works. Jody.
Derry, Steve, it's all in an effort to make air travel safer. This was first tested at Washington Dulles International Airport, and today's the first day the system is online at JFK. It's another tool to make sure U.S. Customs and Border Protection is keeping its citizens safe. Right now, there are 18 machines spread throughout 3 terminals at JFK. Officials say at least 500 people a day chosen randomly will be screened. And now the goal is to have facial comparison at all 5 international terminals here at the airport.
My understanding is that we're the first school in the nation.
A St. Louis Catholic school is taking an aggressive approach at school security. St. Louis-based Blue Line Security Systems recently installed facial recognition technology at the all-boys school.
So the way it works is if the cameras don't recognize you, you don't get in.
So I'm not a student, a staff member, or a normal visitor to St. Mary's High School. So when I walked through these doors and I stood in front of this camera, it didn't recognize my face and it wouldn't let me in.
So I know that the system works because it's only letting in those faces that are a part of the system.
Sports tech is a big topic of discussion here at CES. Here's how one tracking technology company is helping to make the game of football better for those on the field and off.
These tags, 2 of which are embedded in the right and left shoulder pads of each NFL player. They allow us to track location and motion. They transmit signals. In 2015, we expanded that to all the 31 stadiums, as well as Wembley Stadium in London and Aloha Stadium for the Pro Bowl this coming season.
The company's trackers are also used in soccer, basketball, and most recently, college football.
Consumers who already have their iris registered with a financial institution can pause in front of the machine for a brief scan. Schedule, authenticate, grab, and go. An entire cash transaction that fits in a 10-second window.
So a few weeks ago I had an NFC implant. So I actually injected, or I had injected an implant, a small chip in my hand, and we put my Eurobonus number into the chip, and today when I passed through security and the lounge registration,
So many people rushing to the stores today. The ATMs of America will be humming with activity, dispensing cash for last-minute gifts. But this morning, we're getting a glimpse of what could be the future new technology that would render your ATM card a relic. ABC's Gio Benitez is here with more. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Lara. You really won't believe your eyes, or maybe I should say you won't believe what your eyes can do. And that's because your cornea may become your next debit card.
Agent confirmed.
It's like a scene out of Mission Impossible. But biometrics are no longer the future, they're here. Citibank giving GMA an exclusive look inside at Citi Innovation Lab, where they are in the early stages of testing this high-tech ATM that uses your eyes, not a card, to verify your identity.
Let's say you wanted $60, and you'd say okay.
And when you arrive at the ATM,
just identify yourself, get your money. There's no more card, there's no more PIN, no more paper receipt.
when it comes to cardless ATMs, Bank of America says it is also testing them, and JP Morgan says it already plans to roll some out in late 2016.
Use your fingerprint and enter your PIN.
When you go to the doctor's office, you may be asked to place your hand over a strange-looking device. It's called a palm scanner.
It looks like something out of a futuristic movie, but it is the real deal. It begins with it scanning your palm to create a unique identification code linked to your medical records.
We've been congressionally mandated to verify the exit process, and this is a test to determine in this pedestrian environment, can we do that with this technology?
Digital technology offers the promise of intimacy, amusement, and even a longer life. With the ability to do billions of calculations in our pockets, it seems we've discovered a new dimension in which everything in our lives can be improved and tracked, and then turned into money. But is convenience, profit, and surveillance the only use for these new powers?
We're a multimodal biometrics identification company. We've got the world's only patent on a handheld multimodal, which means fingerprint, iris, and facial device on smartphones or on tablets. It's installed in State Department of Corrections, sheriff's offices, and local police in 47 states. It's big.
For me, this is a form of governance by data. You might be a perfectly normal individual whose facial expression, for example, might indicate that you have some dangerous or suspicious thoughts.
Within 5 years or so, we're looking at a future where police forces would be able to identify who you are and where you are in the city and link it to a social networking page and to all of your friends.
Imagine technology that truly understands you and can adjust the ambience to your mood at that moment. Technology that lets you live your life without having to think about it, and just add something extra to the little things in life. Or the big ones. Enjoy the freedom. Revolutionary smart living.
Biometric tattoos are raising the bar in wearable technology, and here to fill us in on the who, what, where, when, and why is our very own Lionel of Lionel Media. Hello, sir. Can you tell us what direction is this going with the biometrics and the tattoos? These things aren't easy to take off. What's your opinion on them?
Eventually what's happening is that we are being led bit by bit through, to use the Skinnerian term, from shaping through the successive approximation to ultimately having within our bodies an RFID chip that will be implanted, that people will stand in line and in queues for to have.
Biometrics is the key that defines us and uniquely identifies who we are. By digitizing and applying biometrics into the world, Suprema securely protects information, assets, and people across communities. Biometrics and security at home or at work, sites large or small, even in digital spaces. Suprema's world-leading algorithm and technology protects the world with the power of true identity. Suprema's innovation will explore infinite possibilities and overcome challenges. To introduce technologies that will lead the world to the next frontier.
Lagano, sve ide brzo, odlično napravljeno.
You give a card, that's it, and you pay for it. How simple is that? Very nice, absolutely.